Yeah.
Like, I have no armrest on this chair. I think that was also one of the reasons why I wanted to get a new chair, because I have no armrest on this chair. So if I want to lean, I have to, like...
It's because queer people can't sit straight. It's a thing.
It's just, like, really, like, actually, I've noticed that as well, because I've noticed when we're recording, like, sometimes I'll, like, have my, like, leg up, or I'll, like, fucking sit all retardedly, and then I'm like, how am I sitting like this? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
It's just something in our DNA where we cannot sit straight. See, I find it so funny that you like to have it just be me on the screen, but I like to have us side by side so that I can see both of us.
I'm over there.
Yeah, you're
I'm
in the
my
tiny little
screen.
box, but I have, like, we're equals in my screen.
You know what, Jeramie? I'm low-key... I don't know if I'd say, like... What's that word? Narcissistic? I'm not, like, super narcissistic, but I am also really paranoid about what I look like on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So if I make me too big, then I just keep fucking looking at myself.
Oh, yeah, no, don't worry. I do the same. It's just, like...
And I'm like, Kirstyn, stop looking at yourself. I just, like, keep looking at him, and I'm like, oh, is my hair okay? Like, do I look pretty enough for the podcast people that never fucking watch this?
Do I look pretty
What if I
enough for
do
the people who
something
can't
stupid?
see me but can hear me?
Yeah, Jeramie, yeah. Do I look good enough for the people that are gonna hear me?
You are listening to Rent Free in My Head, the podcast where we take the thoughts that are squatting in our brains and help set them up with residence in yours, free of charge. Each week, Kirstyn commits a crime by, I don't know, telling me about a crime that
Rude.
it's like, I don't know.
Okay, no. Out of the two of us, it's Jeramie that commits a crime because he tells me a story that doesn't have an ending.
It has an ending, it just
doesn't have a resolution.
yeah.
So you're the one committing a crime.
It's an open-ended story. It's a choose-your-own-adventure.
It's unresolved.
Yeah, pretty much.
Humans. Anyway, has anything interesting happened to you this past week that you want to share with me that you haven't already shared with me at work?
Nothing really exciting has happened this week. Panic at the Disco released a new song yesterday, which I have listened to it and only it on repeat for since yesterday morning, and it's now tonight.
Is that the song that was on your story?
Yes.
I have not listened to it, but I saw it and I was like, what's the bet Jeramie mentions this song to me in the next 24 hours?
Yep. It is all I have listened to, and there's a website you can go to that shows you your Spotify stats. And I did that last night and I looked at it.
Is it just all my panic?
That song is my most listened to song for the past 4 weeks.
Damn,
It got released yesterday. But, you want to know the real kicker? So not only did they release this song and announce the album coming out in August, they also announced their tour, which is not coming to Australia. And I'm extra salty about it because not only is Panic at the Disco one of my favourites, one of their opening support acts is Marina.
No.
So my other favourite,
Dude.
my two favourites are touring together and they're not even going to come to this country.
Actually, I feel your fucking pain on that as well because Halsey announced a tour and she's come to Australia before. So I was like, world tour? Inclusive of Australia? And then I looked at it and she's like, American tour. And I was like, fuck America. Come to Australia. Bring your cutest shit baby to Australia.
Yeah, this is a US, Canada, Europe, UK tour. And I'm like,
oh, really? Just fucking add Australia in at that point. Jesus Christ.
I want to see. But yeah,
Rude.
I am really keen for the rest of the album.
That's exciting. I'm excited for you.
But hey,
Anyway.
something finally got me to stop listening to Fall Out Boy songs from 2008. That's something.
Ironically enough, as you've stopped listening to Fall Out Boy, I have re-entered my My Chemical Romance phase.
Yeah, because they released music like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, I'm sorry. What
Yeah.
decade is this?
No, I know. I saw that they were releasing new music, and I was like, bestie, I've got to go back. I've got to go back to the OGs. So I have been like, Helena is like one of my favorite songs of theirs. So on the way to work this morning, I was like, hardcore listening to it the whole way.
What about you? What has anything more exciting than a new song on repeat happened in your week?
I don't remember what I've done this week, to be honest with you. My mum mowed my lawns.
Nice. Oh, one thing that I'm excited about is, so at the time of recording, we are now officially in June. This isn't the first of our episodes to release in June, but it is the first one we're recording in June, which means I now have a whole month of using the birthday card.
I forgot about that.
Mm.
I'm kidding.
It's my birthday month.
I was like, Pride? And then I was like, wait, no, he's not
Something more important than Pride. My birthday.
I was like, Pride month. And as soon as I whispered it, I was like, it's his birthday. He's totally going to fucking talk about his birthday.
I've already used the card once. Something that happened and I was like, but it's my birthday. And they're like, yeah, in 4 weeks. And I'm like, it's June. So that still works.
That was me the entire time that Cindy was up visiting. I was like, but it's my birthday. And she's like, yeah, on Saturday. And I was like, but it's my birthday. Yeah. And I just kept making her buy stuff for me. And she's like, stop wasting all my money. And I was like, I feel like I'm not wasting money. I'm investing it in me. Which is where all money should go, frankly. Just feel like every day I become closer and closer to becoming a sugar baby.
Oh, I wish. But also I don't want to have to, like, do the stuff.
I know, right? Like, I probably could find, like, an old man that I just have to have, like, lunch with or something. And he would, like, give me, like, money. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, that's still a lot of effort.
Literally.
To socialize with another human. Like, what if I don't like them?
Which is normal with me and most of the population.
Literally, though. I hate people. But speaking of people I hate, do you want to learn about this, bitch?
Well, yeah, I was just about to say, seeing as it's my birthday, please tell me you have a story to tell me.
I do, and you're gonna fucking hate it.
But it's my birthday!
You're gonna fucking hate it.
And on top of that, pride of all times you're going to hate crime me by telling me a bad story.
That was cute, but no. Also, I totally just realized that last week I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a gay story.
You didn't?
I did not do a gay story.
You never follow through.
Damn,
Look, I'm sure at some point you will
I'm writing it down in my... What?
I'm sure at some point you will write gay erotic fiction.
I am writing it down in my notebook now. Episode 13, Homo Crimes.
Do it for the gays. Be gay and do crime.
Woo! Homo Crimes! Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but every week that we record, I write down the episode number.
And like your own kind of title, yes.
Yeah, I give it a stupid little title.
You did tell me that when you when you told me #sexy_drugs.
Right, yeah. So, this week's one is titled Evil Robin Hood.
Okay.
Because she stole from the poor and gave to the rich. That's not the least messed up thing about the whole story. That's not the most messed up thing about the whole story. So, and shockingly, we're not in Australia this week.
Oh,
we're going to America.
Oh.
That's where all the bad stuff happens, Jeramie. Jesus Christ.
No, that didn't happen in America. That was in the Middle East.
Wait, where's Jerusalem now? It's technically Iran or Israel? Israel. I feel like it's Israel. Israel? Which way do you say it? Israel.
All right, so while this is real fascinating, do you have a story?
Yes,
no?
yes. Okay. So, we're going to Tennessee. We're going to Memphis. And I did warn you.
That's
that I was
why
gonna...
you... Yep.
When I was walking in Memphis, walking with my feet down the ground, walking in Memphis. I don't remember the fucking words.
I feel like if you're going to sing me a song, you should at least know the words.
Okay, look, I thought I knew the words, but clearly I haven't listened to this song in a fucking hot minute. So...
You think you know a lot of things, and then you open your mouth and it's quite clear that you do not at all.
Yeah, that's how I get stuck.
Sorry, I'm choking on wine. You would think after this many years I would know how to drink wine, but no.
Apparently not. Bit awkward for you.
I guess I'm just going to have to keep trying. Practice makes perfect.
Oh, yeah, of course, Jeramie. Of course. That was my, little karaoke. Sick. What the fuck was that? Then we go into the depressing shit.
My thoughts exactly.
Okay.
What the fuck was that?
Wow, rude. The fans will love it. Another word. Okay, so... Beulah George Tan was born on July 18th, 1891 in Georgia. No, not in Georgia. I'm going to read that sentence again. I just confused myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, aren't we going to Tennessee, which is not Georgia?
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna start this again. So the story will happen in Tennessee. We're gonna begin in Philadelphia.
Also not Georgia.
Yeah, shush. So, Beulah George Tan was born on July 18th, 1891. She was named after her parentals. Her dad's name was George, her mom's name was Beulah, but she went by Georgia. Her daddy was a judge who hoped his daughter would become a concert pianist. Pianist? It's pianist.
It's pianist.
Yeah, because it sounds like penis.
Yes.
He seemed like an alright dude, not gonna lie. Didn't really see much shit on him. And would often bring home, like, abandoned or neglected children to help them get better lives, because he was a court judge, so if he, like, saw kids that were, like, fucked up in the system or whatever, he would, like, bring them home until he could connect them with doctors or lawyers or other such things like that.
Okay.
So, like, super sweet beginnings.
Something tells me it's not gonna have super sweet endings.
Yeah, bitch really doesn't have an excuse for turning out the way she did. She had a nice upbringing. Not that that's an excuse, but, like, it's slightly more understandable. So, she hated piano, but got a degree in music, then did some social work courses for 2 summers, and then she decided to become a lawyer like her dad. So, she passed the bar, did all the studying and everything like that, and then her dad was like, bestie, this is the 20s. We don't have women lawyers.
No.
Ew. So she was like,
that doesn't happen.
Alright, bet. I'm gonna do what every other fucking unmarried woman does that wants to work. I'm gonna go into social work. So she got a job at the Mississippi Children's Home Finding Society in Jackson. Oh god, I do like double on my screen right now. Jesus, that's creepy. Stop, go away. I want little Jeramie. Okay. Yeah, so she started working at the Mississippi Children's Home Finding Society in Jackson. And Bestie had some interesting tactics while doing social work. So rather than, like, getting a kid and then, like, helping them find a home, which is what you're supposed to do, she was really good at the whole getting the kid thing. I.e., she would just take the kid off the poor parents.
So,
And when I mean poor, I do mean sad, it's poor, but also poor, no money, poor.
So like, as in kidnap them?
Basically, yeah.
What?
So, like, she would just, like,
Cool.
take the kid and then, like, adopt them out to a new family without the permission of the bio parents.
Don't love that. That's...
She gets worse. So, bit of a scandal there. A couple of people found out and they were like, bestie, that's not how we do things here. That's wrong. At least one bio parent did sue, being like, yo, this bitch fucking adopted my kid out. I never wanted them to be adopted. What the fuck? Give my kid back. And she was like, oopsies. It got fired.
Do we know how many kids?
Oh, bestie, just wait.
Okay.
So I don't have exact numbers on her Jackson employment. I don't know too much about that. The most I could find was that she was there for a couple of years. She did some sketchy shit like that. She wasn't very good at
sketchy shit.
it.
I think that's a bit more than some sketchy shit.
She did some bad shit. She would often adopt kids out to parents without buyer's permission, and I think a lot of people just thought that, oh, she's just a misguided, like, woman who thinks that she's helping, you know, like, she really just wants to better the kids. So then she moves to Tennessee.
What, did she think that because the parents were poor, they weren't fit? That the children's lives would be better if she took them away from...
Yeah, she's
because
literally...
understandable if it was like actual social work situation of you're neglecting your child or you literally aren't able to care for your child or the child is in danger in this situation. But if it's just, you don't have much money, so I'm going to give your kid to someone who does... That's not going to get...
I put this later in my notes, but I'll tell you now if I can find it. But she's... Oh, there we go. In her mind, if you were poor, you were an incompetent parent. No, you couldn't parent just because you were poor. But if you were rich, you were competent.
Okay. Not how it works, but sure.
Did in Tan's mind. So, she moves to Tennessee. Obviously, the stuff that happened in Jackson isn't really too much looked at. I think it, as I said, was just seen as she had good intentions. She thought she was giving them a better life kind of thing. Or they just frankly didn't know about it. Because she got a job at the Shelby branch of the Tennessee Children's Home Society. This was around 1922 or 1924. Two different articles said... One article said 1922, another article said 1924, so I wasn't super sure which year, but it was around that time. Though by 1929, she was named the executive director of the Shelby chapter. So clearly everyone thought she was the fucking bee's knees and she was this amazing person.
Mm-hmm.
She even won national praise for her progressive approach and single-handedly placed 5,000 orphans from, like, babies to teenagers. She would
actual orphans or...
We'll get to it. So she would place ads such as... And this is disgusting, so heads up. Want a real, live Christmas present? With pictures of babies.
That is even worse than... that is even worse than buying a puppy as a Christmas present. Like,
right? It's a fucking kid.
It's a human.
Mm-hmm.
Don't buy humans. There's my hot take for the week.
Damn. You know what I'm gonna do one episode is I'm gonna tweet your hot takes. And just have it as Jeramie's hot takes.
Yep. I'm sure we could make a list of great hot takes that I've had.
Yeah, like, don't buy humans. Guys, don't buy humans. Jeramie's
Yep.
hot take. 2022.
A few weeks ago, it was don't take children.
Look at you go.
Just
We're moving out
don't.
in the world. I, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, couldn't find a picture of said ad. Like, I kind of want to see it because I'd be interested to see, like, what it looks like. But at the same time, it's also really fucking disgusting, so I'm kind of glad I couldn't find it.
What
mind you,
year are
this
we
was,
talking? Did you say, like, 1920s,
This is now the
1930s?
about 1930s, the early 1930s.
Those newspapers would be hell on the eyes anyway. Remember,
I
I
think so.
learned
Oh,
this the
that's
other
right
week. They're not fun.
yeah. So, thankfully, they didn't have, like, super good, like, photography that we do now, because could you imagine, like, a modern-day version of that ad? I low-key want to make it, which is horrible. I just want to see what
I'm just picturing it as like a banner on a webpage, like hot singles in your area looking to meet up and fuck, except in this
But
case
instead of
it's
that, it's, like, cute little
fresh babies
being,
to buy.
Like... But yeah, so, she was, like, this badass bitch who was like, yay, adoption is really, really good, guys. Like, let's rehome these poor kids. So
Which,
the positive
yes, definitely
positive
for
thing that came out of this was that she did help popularize adoption in America. So before this, like, before her, everyone was kind of like, adoption? Like, ugh.
Yeah, but
And then 10 kind of made it.
Don't buy babies.
Yeah.
They're not for sale.
It gets worse. So, if you look at this bitch, she, in other people's eyes, not mine, because you know I fucking hate white people. Oh. Damn, okay. Kirstyn's hot take of the week. She fucking hates white people.
We are the worst, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, fat fucking mood.
Just
Not
maybe
what I'm
don't
going
say
to say.
things like that just as I take a mouthful of red wine in an
to, Jesus
all-white
Christ.
room.
Okay, damn girl, it was an accident. But,
Same though.
okay. If you're looking at this lady and you like old people, so you're not me, she looks, like, really sweet, I guess. I don't know, I fucking hate old people. I just tried to send you a picture, but for some reason it's saying you have to download it and then open it.
Oh,
maybe?
if it's a .webp, I think it just will take me to the website.
Oh,
Because I also
somehow
saved
I
something
saved
like
it
this.
in Paint. That's my bad. So it's gonna open up Paint.
No, it opens in Google. Because
Okay, cool.
I also have saved one of those image files from my story.
Okay, well I have 2 files like that. The other 2 are normal. But she looks kind of... I don't know if you like old people. She looks kind of sweet, I guess. I don't like
She
old
looks
people.
like a normal human that you wouldn't expect
Right,
to be
right.
selling babies.
Yeah. She fully fucking used that to her advantage.
Oh, they always
And-
do. It's like that woman on Worst Roommates Ever who looked sweet and
Innocent. But she was
innocent
really-
and literally just took advantage of the fact that she looked like an old lady. And then it ended up being she wasn't even an old lady. She was like late 40s, early 50s. She just did her hair and makeup and dressed so that she looked like an old woman. It was fucked.
That's why I don't trust old people.
Just don't trust anyone.
I mean, fat mood, I don't. But anyway, bitch used this to her advantage. Also, she was white, so that played into it. And she would drive around poor neighborhoods in her fancy as fuck black car. Which actually, low-key, is really cool. Let me show you the picture. Oh god, I've lost the picture. This is so depressing. This is like one of the cooler pictures I had. Bruh.
That's what's depressing, that you lost a picture. Not that this woman straight up sold babies from their poor parents. Are you a sim?
Yes.
Yipki Barnica too.
That was beautiful. What does it mean?
I don't know. It's one of like multiple things that they say all the time.
Okay. So I sent you a photo of a car. I don't think it's the car, but this car was like referenced. So I'm assuming it's like similar vibes, but it's a fucking cool car.
That is definitely a brum brum mobile.
Yes. Brum brum. So anyway, she would drive around poor neighborhoods in her fancy as fuck car and steal small children.
Of course she did.
And she would do that by just like pulling up, because like this was like the fucking 30s. So kids would play in their front yard. There was like no air conditioning or whatever, so they would like the parents
No
would, like,
stranger
let their kids
danger.
play outside. Yeah, that shit wasn't real. Well, real. And she would like pull up and be like, "Hey, little girl, look at my sick as fuck ride. Do you wanna have a ride in my car?" And the kid would be like, "This is fucking cool as shit. I've never ridden in a car because I'm poor as fuck. Yes, please, I would love to experience that." So they would get in the car, and then she would just steal them.
Just drive off.
No, literally though, she would just fucking drive off. She was able to do this pretty frequently as well because she had the help of the local mayor. He was dodgy as fuck, and she kind of had him in her pocket. She also had a co-conspirator who was a Joofy judge. So she would take these children, and then she would go to the court and be like, "Oh, found these kids on the side of the road." Yeah.
Found these.
And then the judge would be like, "Oh, well, we'll have to contact their parents." Contact the parents, and the parents would be like, "What the fuck? My kid, what? My kid was just playing. Like, no, what?" Most of them would be like, "I want my fucking kid back." And then the judge would be like, "No, I'm gonna sign away your parental rights to Georgia Tan." Yep. So that made it legal. This is what I like to call legal kidnapping. Have a judge in your back pocket who will just sign away parental rights to you. I fucking hate this woman so much.
This bitch is the worst.
Oh, literally though. It gets worse.
Of course it does. It always
So
does
other
when you talk.
Other possible helpers, which were never really like identified or anything like that, were doctors and other agency officials who would tip her off as to when there would be freshies to go and get.
So the whole fucking system is corrupt. All of the people you're supposed to be able to trust, you can't trust.
You really can't.
Trust no one.
So yeah, so this was often done by either the mums being so drugged up after childbirth that they would just kind of have to coerce them a little bit into signing the paperwork to sign their parental rights away. That was one way they did it. Another way they did it was just straight up telling the mums that their baby died and keeping the baby. Yep, because Georgia really liked babies because she could get more money for fresh ones. She would also refer to them as blank slates, which is disgusting.
Yeah, because they don't have to deal with the trauma of remembering being taken from their home.
Yeah, it gets worse. 10 would even sometimes just straight up shame the mothers into giving their children up. So I imagine that was similar to, "You're poor. You can barely look after yourself. You wouldn't be able to care for your baby. Imagine the life they could have if you weren't their mother. Imagine what they could have. Imagine what they could have provided. You can't provide anything. You're poor. You're useless. You're dumb." I imagine that that's what it would be like. And then the mums feeling like absolute fucking ass. And thinking,
I wonder why.
Yeah, literally though. Like, one, you've just shoved a fucking baby out your vagina. Ow. 2, you are poor. You know what it's like living poor. It is low-key kind of shit. So
Yeah.
you're like, you know what? I want my kid to have the best possible fucking life. Maybe this stupid white lady's right. Maybe it will be better for them. So they would sign away their parental rights. It gets worse. So.
Money isn't everything. There you go. There's another hot take for the week. Money is not everything. Like, you can have a good and happy life and still be poor. That child was probably better off in the home with the poor mother who loved it than being bought by someone who has all this money to throw around because, you know, that's not...
It gets worse. It is estimated that 500 to 600 babies died at the orphanage because they were not marketable. Not marketable meaning they were sickly, they were born with a birth defect, they were born with health issues, or they were just too fussy, or they weren't cute enough.
Baby is not something that should be marketable. It is a living, breathing human life.
These babies were made to go away. So it was specific people's jobs to take the baby and either just kind of, I'm going to quote this, leave it in the sun to expire, or just take care of it in some other way and not bring the body back.
Just like yeet it off a bridge or something.
Yep. Just get rid of it. Not only was there dead babies, but also dead children. Other children died from epidemics that would infect the orphanage, which could have been preventable if their living conditions were better, which seemed to be fairly common because they were kept in shit conditions and often abused by the staff and Georgia Tan herself.
Why does that not surprise me?
And it gets worse!
Just gonna make a note here. We've done it again.
What?
There is a slight, ever so small connection or overlap between our cases.
Is there?
Yes, something that you said before kind of triggered, and I'm like, oh, so we'll touch on that. We'll burn that bridge later when we get to it.
Okay. Well then, I'm going to keep going. Intrigued now. So, over a decade later, so this is 1941, this piece of shit has been doing it since at least 1929.
The world is at war, and yet that still sounds better than what's happening at this orphanage. Fantastic.
Also, you know what's super depressing is the orphanage actually looks really fucking pretty.
Is it like a castle?
No, it just kind of looks like a sweet, like, typical American home, I think.
Oh.
Would be... But it's, like, low-key really fucking cute. Like, it's just, like, a movie American home.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, it's cute.
How many children would be there at any one time, though?
It wasn't super descriptive about that, but I think it would be quite a lot, like, in the hundreds, because she...
So more than there should be in one house
like, this
at a
was
time.
her career.
Cool.
Her career was just driving around fucking kidnapping kids. And she had helpers as well.
What a job. What a job to have.
Yeah.
Career goals right there.
I also forgot to mention earlier, in that group of helpers, police.
Not at all surprised.
No, neither. So apparently, more often than not, some of the parents would, like, of the victims, would call the police and be like, hey, this bitch has fucking kidnapped my child, and saying that I'm not a fit mother or whatever. And then the police would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or they would just fucking do nothing, which sounds very much like them. And also I read one article said that they also sometimes would help the bitch.
Cool.
So that makes me feel really good. But anyway,
Yay.
we move on. So, in 1941, the Child Welfare League of America finally figured out that Georgia Tann regularly destroyed records of adoption, i.e. was a shady fucking bitch.
What?
They obviously...
You mean to say she was not a good person?
Yeah,
I don't
weird.
believe you.
Weird, right. They obviously were like,
She's out there selling babies, trying to make a buck or two. You know.
Oh, she would even charge extra for, like, interstate. If she, like... So if they were in Tennessee and they were, like, in California, that's definitely a different state.
Yes.
She would be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I can give you a baby, but on top of the adoption fees, it's going to be $5,000 more.
You gotta do what you gotta do in an economy. Like,
it's called
it's how you get by. Just sell some babies. It's fine.
So,
Don't sell babies.
Yeah, don't sell babies, Jeramie. We are not a baby-selling pro podcast.
Nobody should be a pro baby selling podcast. If you're
I'm sure there's probably one out there.
If you are pro baby selling, please stop listening to us now.
Technically, Kmart is pro baby selling because they say sell baby dolls. I'm just saying.
They don't sell baby humans. That's a very big difference.
Anywho, so the Child Welfare League of America pulled their funding because they were like, "Oh, bestie, you doing naughty things, no money for you." And then also around this time, a judge found that Georgia Tann was profit motivated and couldn't care less about the children. Took them a hot fucking second to figure that one out. Although there is some justice in the fact that around the mid-40s, Tann got uterine cancer, which, if you don't know, is cancer in your uterus. So, sucks to be that fucking asshole. So, an official investigation was launched in 1950. Let me just remind you that that is 21 years after she became director. So, well, the public found out, this was national news, mind you.
Some of those babies she sold are now old enough to drink. Like the first batch.
Yep. So obviously the public was outraged and was like, what the actual fuck nuggets, guys? 3 days before the state was going to charge her, so right before they just gathered enough evidence to arrest the bitch, she fucking dies.
So she gets
and
out of it.
Therefore faces absolutely no consequences for destroying thousands of children's lives.
Oh, I'm
Just
sure.
to update you on that number, it's estimated to be 5,000.
Cool.
5,000 children!
I am very, very sure that she is in the bad place, paying the consequences dearly if there is any form of karmic justice in this universe.
Joy I got out of reading this fucking story was that the stupid bitch gets cancer. I even tried to Google if this was a really bad cancer that would hurt her a lot. I assume because it's in her vagina, it would be relatively painful. It also was like the 40s, so I don't think they had super great medical shit. So I'm assuming her, like, last couple of years were painful as shit, and that brings me joy. Also, the irony that it was uterus cancer, and she fucked over babies.
Well, there's probably some karma there, yeah.
Literally. So, I'm almost done. Also, the fact that Georgia Tann would adopt out to other states made it even harder to reunite families or find information or just in fucking general
And she's
Help.
destroying records on top of
Yep.
that. So how are they
Yep.
supposed to follow any of that up?
Yeah.
There's
so,
actually no way to know the number.
Yeah, actually, I do have some, like, interesting things about that as well. So, because of this, few attempts were made to reunite families. Less than 10% were reunited with their families. Yep. So, the stupid bitch-faced judge that helped her commit most of these fucking crimes also faced no repercussions.
Of course
She
not.
retired when the investigation was still ongoing, and then she died from a stroke in 1955. So so the investigation started in 1950.
Yeah.
Tan died.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after that, the stupid judge retired, fucked off, and then she died 5 years later.
Okay.
She got off because the mayor at the time, well, that mayor dude that was helped her kind of get away with it. He also died in 1956, but maybe he was the one who died of a stroke. Either way, those two fuckers died. They're pieces of shit. Fuck them. So. Okay, I have 2 more bits of information. So, this was like the 1930s, 40s, right? So it was later found out / accused that of quite a few celebrities actually adopted through this adoption agency. It's not known whether or not they knew where exactly the children were coming from or had any suspicions, but these are the famous people. So Joan Crawford, she adopted 2 girls, Cynthia and Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
From them. June Allison and Dick Powell. Actually, I think it might be Powell. It's Powell. They adopted a girl named Pamela. Can't read my own fucking handwriting. A Pearl S. Buck, who was a famous writer. Didn't tell me who she adopted, but she adopted someone. Lana Turner, who's also an actress. She adopted someone. Didn't have much information on that. The New York governor, Herbert Lehman, also adopted from that agency. Jean Tapia, who is a race car driver, I'm pretty sure. They had their child stolen from them. And Ric Flair, who is a famous wrestler, it came out years later that he was actually a victim of Georgia Tann. And in his autobiography, the first chapter is titled Black Market Baby. And it's about how he was a victim of her. So, pretty scary that some famous people were fucking involved in that shit.
I really hope that the ones adopting through that agency didn't know, but...
Yeah. It was like a massive scandal when everyone found out, because everyone found out, obviously, about the company, like the Tennessee Children's Home Society.
Yeah.
And they were like, which, by the way, was closed in 1950, so it's no longer operating whatsoever. There is a new orphanage that has a similar name, but they're in no way connected.
Okay.
They
don't sell babies.
No, they don't sell babies.
Okay.
They're Christians, though, so you can't really trust them that much. So they closed down, but I think the main scandal was surrounding Joan Crawford and the Powells, because they were like Hollywood's power couple in the 1940s, apparently. Okay. And then Joan Crawford, that was like the only name I fucking recognized.
Yeah.
So yeah. She apparently adopted her 2 daughters from it, but it was never really confirmed whether or not she knew about it or if she just found out afterwards. And I don't know if her children were one of the children that were ever reunited with their parents. So, also, bit of a link to you. I don't know if this is the link you were thinking of, but Unsolved Mysteries did like a little story on this. But they focused on one of the victims. Her name is Cindy. Lol. Cindy Lou Presto, who was born to Evelyn Bridgewater, which, what a fucking nice name. Can we, like, Evelyn Bridgewater?
I like it.
That's such a cute name. So that's her mum, and she was originally
There's
born
another connection
as...
to my case, though, so there you go.
Oh, really? Oh. She was originally born as Sandra Lee Bridgewater. And her story was that she was one of the kids that was taken from the yard. So Georgia Tan drove up and was like, hey, do you want to have a ride in my car? And little Sandra was like, oh my God, yes, please. Got in her... hers was actually a limo that time. So she got in, and apparently they picked up a few other kids. And then they went to the courthouse. They met that judge lady. And Evelyn was contacted and was like, we have your kid here. You need to sign over parental rights because you clearly can't take care of her. And Evelyn was like, no, I'm not signing away my parental rights. Like, that's my fucking kid. No.
Yeah.
And then the judge turned around and was like, I don't care. I can override you. And just overrid it. And signed her away. So Cindy's story is actually a bit of a happy one because she did reunite with her mum. So that's good.
Oh, that's good.
So she is one of the few people that did get to reunite with her. And I think she also found her brother or a sibling of some sort. So that was exciting. There also is some, like, nicest thing.
Wait, was the sibling taken as well, or?
No.
Okay, so Evelyn didn't lose both children to this.
From memory, let me just quickly triple check because I don't want to be wrong. Fuck, of course.
Because that would just
tab I closed.
That would just be devastating. Like, obviously, it would be devastating to lose one, but to lose both, that's fucked. That's like next level heartbreaking.
Blah 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 blah.
And also just the trauma of being these children that were old enough to remember their family that they were taken from. Like, obviously, it's awful to take the babies and sell them, but at least they have no memory of life before.
They don't have any memory of another family.
They don't have that trauma. These kids that are, like, coherent enough, old enough to be playing in the yard and lured into this limo, they're obviously going to remember the years of their childhood with their actual parents, and that's so fucked up.
Yeah. So I got this one a little bit mixed up because there were other stories that I read. But so Cindy didn't have siblings. But you know what's even grosser about her story? Apparently when she was growing up, she was told that she was adopted from Memphis, but her adoptive family would never answer any of her questions. It was only after her adoptive mother passed away that Cindy found correspondence from the Tennessee Children's Home.
Yeah.
And then she began, and it took her 2 years to find her birth mum.
Yeah, okay.
So it wasn't like an easy thing. But also mentioned in this article from Unsolved Mysteries is a Ginny Bond is looking for her brother. They were separated. He was born in July 1936 and was put up for adoption in April 1939. Nancy Turner is looking for her sister. She was adopted when she was 4 years old. Her siblings were given up by her mom, who was unable to care for them. She's found her brothers, but not her sisters. David Goldberg is looking for his mum. He was born April 28th, 1944. She was 23 and living in Cleveland. She had 5 brothers and sisters. And Alma Jo Davis is looking for her son, Billy Joe Woodbury, who was born in Memphis on January 25th, 1945. 3 days after his birth, he was sent to the Tennessee Children's Home Society, and she never saw him again.
Oh.
So this case is first aired on December 13th, 1989 episode. There's also like a bunch of books about this story and all this other stuff and everything like that. Apparently, also, it's not really a fun fact. I did forget to mention before that at one point, the infant mortality rate in Memphis was the highest in the country. And it was during this shit time. So,
Yeah, I assume that they probably contributed quite heavily to that. Cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool,
So
cool,
there
cool,
is
cool,
a
cool, cool.
support group, Tennessee's Right to Know adoption support group, and it helps children from the Tennessee Children's Home Society find their families. So it was what do you call it? It was created by Lynn Hines, who is also a victim of TANS. So yeah, kind of. Oh, actually, I just read Nancy was able to find her sister.
Oh, fantastic!
Yay! Oh my god, her sister remembered her. They were reunited after 40 years. I didn't read this bit when I was researching. Oh my god. Aww.
I love that.
Oh. And Alma found her sister as well. Yay. That's so exciting. But yeah, so there's also 2 memorials for the victims. So it's really depressing as well. In 2015, Elmwood Cemetery, where there is records of 19 babies being buried from that home. They raised $13,000 to erect a monument for those children.
Erect.
Oh, bro, we're talking about fucking dead babies, and you're like,
I'm sorry.
Erect.
You said erect.
Damn, kid. Damn. So that one actually reads, I've sent it to you. Oh god, watch me not be able to read it from the fucking saved file.
Yeah, I can't read that.
That's okay, I'll go back to the original picture I have. Just gotta remember which fucking page it's on.
I can make out in memoriam Tennessee Children's Home Society, and then the rest is just pixels. I mean, the whole thing is pixels because it's an image, but
like the whole fucking thing is pixels. So, in memoriam Tennessee Children's Home Society, there's a friend for little children above the bright blue sky, a friend who never changes, whose love will never die. Bit gay, but really cute. Oh, my bad. That's the one that's in Spring Hill Cemetery.
Okay.
Where 20 plots were purchased, but there's only one confirmed child to be in that cemetery.
Okay.
Whereas the other one, my bad, I'll send that to you as well. Let me just, oh god. So many fucking tabs open, I'm confusing myself.
It doesn't take much.
It really doesn't. Okay, so this is the 19 children one, my bad. I meant to send them to you oppositely. Okay, so this one reads, in memory of the 19 children who finally rest here, unmarked is not unknown, and of all the hundreds who died under the cold, hard hand of the Tennessee Children's Home Society, their final resting place, unknown, their final peace, a blessing. The hard lesson of their fate changed adoption procedure and law nationwide. So, there were some changes to the laws and everything like that about adoption and everything like that. One of the more suckier ones being that Tennessee still has the closed adoption thing, which means that the adoption records are sealed, and then even like the actual children who were adopted can't fucking open them to view who their parents are. Like their bios. Yeah, I thought that it was just like
is that a mandatory closed adoption, or that
so
like are all adoptions in Tennessee?
No.
Okay.
Not all. I think it's like a choice. You can do an open adoption or a closed adoption.
I know that there's the choice. I didn't realize that. Oh, I suppose the choice of closed adoption does actually close the child out of finding out. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
because it means you don't have access to I suppose medical from like watching stuff, they have specified that closed adoptions mean you will never know your medical history or anything like that. Which
is really shit. If you're going to do a closed, like, okay, look, I'm not going to judge anyone's choices, but if you are going to do a closed adoption, fucking include your medical history. Like, just write that shit down and give it to the new parent. I mean, like, here, bestie, this is going to be fucking important information for you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like half the people I'm related to. But I need to know their medical history because it affects me.
For that matter, just communicate your medical history to your children full stop. Don't wait until they are in their 20s and diagnosed with depression and anxiety before telling them, oh yeah, that actually runs in the family.
Oopsies.
Would have been a good thing to know in advance.
No. But yeah, that's my case of the Tennessee Children's Home Society and the biggest piece of shit in America. But no, probably just Tennessee in that time period. There's a lot of shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably still not the biggest piece of shit.
Which is sad.
I've said it once, I've said it twice, I feel like I've said it 1,000 times across my lifetime, but I'm going to say it again. Don't buy or sell babies. They are not goods for purchase.
According to Georgia 10, they are. They are the most lucrative things to sell. She's a massive piece of shit, though. So
she is.
Don't vibe with her.
Most definitely not.
The only good thing is that she got cancer and died. And I'm assuming it was painful because it was the 40s and they didn't have as advanced medicine as we do now. Plus it was in around her vagina, so
I'm not going to agree with you on that one simply because I wouldn't wish cancer on anybody.
Yes, that's fair. We both know I'm a shittier person than you.
What, after watching a loved one deal with it and die from it, I would not wish that on anybody. But I do
steals and kills babies.
I do understand that stance.
You can't get with me on it.
I can't. It's the same as where we had differing opinions on whether murdering a child sex offender is still murder. Which
present to society.
Still stand by my stance on that murder is murder and it shouldn't happen, but
murder bad.
Believe it or not, yes, murder is bad. Again, another hot take. I'm full of them today. Look at me go.
Don't do it, guys.
Don't murder.
Don't sell babies. Don't murder.
Just be gay and do crime, just not those crimes.
Only specific crimes that don't hurt other people.
Yeah,
or
like
hurt the rich.
Like minor crimes. Yes, do eat the rich. They deserve to go down. Don't murder them. Just eat them. Like, just take a bite.
Oh my god, dude, actually. So I went shopping with my mum on
Well, how does this connect to taking a bite out of a human being?
It does.
How?
So I went shopping with my mum on Wednesday. And we went into JB Hi-Fi. And we were looking around.
And you bitter person?
No, Hannibal, the series Hannibal was on sale. And I was like, ooh, should I buy this? Because I really want to watch it. And I showed it to my mum. I was like, oh, look. And she was like, ew, that doesn't look nice. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is like a great show. He eats people. And she's like, he eats people? And I'm like, yeah, he eats people. And she's like, guess that's so gross. And I was like, oh, it's actually like a really cute love story in it as well. But, you know.
All right, are we ready to delve into the unknown?
Maybe.
Either way, you're going to, so
Like,
you don't really get an
no
option. I had to sit through that, so it's your turn. I did promise last week that I was going to go somewhere other than the US
America?
this week.
Which is ironic because I went to America.
Yeah, which is why I was like, dude, come on. We almost had one episode without.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
look, in my defense, I literally was trying to Google about a case that I heard mentioned on another podcast where it was like, apparently these neighbours suspected that there was a kid kidnapped in a house and they went and rescued them because the police wouldn't do anything or couldn't do anything. That's what I was trying to Google.
Okay.
And I stumbled upon this bitch and I was like, damn.
Well, that's kind of like how what I said to you this afternoon of last week I had decided I was going to do one case and got my fun facts ready. And then yesterday when I sat down to do my notes, I picked a different case, but then realized that those same fun facts would apply because it's in the same country. So I was like, well, that worked out well.
What country are we going to, though?
You'll find out. It's in the UK.
Ooh.
So...
Italy.
Italy is not in the UK.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I just thought of Europe. When you said the UK, my brain was like, Europe. Oh my fucking god. You realise that's just Ireland and Wales and Scotland?
And...
No.
Oh, yeah, because, Brexit.
Brexit. Do you want to change your...
No, it's still in the UK.
Is it Ireland?
It is not.
Dang it. Is it Wales?
We've already done Wales.
Fuck, is it Scotland?
How did you know?
I'm just that good at guessing.
So, yeah, I promised I wasn't going to go to the US this week, and I followed through on that, and as you just managed to, I don't know, psychically guess, we are going to Scotland.
England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, inside, outside, inside, on. Did you ever play that?
No, we've had this discussion last time when Wales came up.
I just don't understand why you've never played it. It was a great game.
Your memory is shocking. I mean, I get that I hear it twice because I edit these things, but also I just...
I'll be surprised, Jeramie.
No, I'm really not. So... I went for something I had heard of a few times here and there, just in passing. Like, I've seen mention of it, because I'm trying to find some obscure stuff that I haven't seen a lot of coverage of, which makes it hard to research, but
fat move
kind of makes it more interesting and fun. So I didn't know much about this, but it's kind of always lived rent-free in my head, like, because I've heard of it a few times just in passing. And I've always been curious about it. Whoop. Like the dancing plague, this is another unexplained phenomenon. However, I should probably preface this one with some warnings. I'm feeling a bit better about... I was like, oh, this one's kind of sad when I picked it. But I'm feeling a little bit better about that because it's nothing compared to yours.
Doesn't involve dead babies?
There's the connection.
How is that better than mine?
It involves a dead baby at some point in the story.
Well, so not 500 to 600?
No, and none was sold.
Well, okay. I guess you are technically better than me then. I'll give
Yeah.
you that.
Maybe don't lean too far back.
Sorry, my queer's coming through. Gotta change positions.
So, firstly, I will just put out a trigger warning that this story does contain mention of suicide. I will note that it's not quite...
Bye.
It's not quite in the context that you're likely thinking, but the word does come into play a few times throughout this story, and I did want to just put that out there. Secondly, there are some upsetting factors of this story involving animals, namely dogs. But I can promise and assure you.
B can't hear you. I've got headphones on.
Yeah, I was gonna say she can't hear me through your headphones. I can promise and assure you that there is no animal cruelty, and I will not be talking about anyone inflicting harm on animals.
Bit confused, but okay.
As I said, it's an unexplained phenomenon. It is a little sad, but mostly it's just very strange.
Okay, so if you're having a bad mental health day, this is the shittest episode for you to listen to. Fucking turn us off right now, besties.
There is also room for some interesting conversation topics and banter here. It's just that the main concept, once I get to it, it's very briefly the main concept.
Sacrifice?
No. No one inflicts harm on animals.
No,
animals
the baby.
Oh. No.
Oh. Why did I sound disappointed?
You mean, wait, so you're telling me that we can't sell or buy babies or sacrifice them? What?
This is a fucking outrage. What?
Anyway, from those two oddly specific warnings, listeners already in the know may have pieced together exactly what phenomenon I will be discussing with you today. I assume that you have not? Kirstyn?
Me not knowing something? What?
That's unheard of. Talk about the unknown. What did you do? Oh, your webcam fell off.
Inception.
That is weird.
Jeramie.
My forehead looks massive from that angle.
I can't. How do I get it back on your forehead? There we go. Oh my god, it does.
Megamind, is that you?
Wait, I'm screenshotting this. How do I screenshot? How do I screenshot?
That is terrifying.
Oh my god. I love that so much.
Why are you upside down?
What? Oh, right, as I'm holding it. Okay.
Today I am going to be talking to you about the Overton Bridge.
I still have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, so you haven't heard of it. That's fine. I will give you some information about it soon, but the TLDR version is that it is a bridge.
Oh my god!
Which is the other link when you were talking about Evelyn Bridgewater.
Oh, right, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a bridge over water, I assume?
There's no water. Well, there might be water. I don't know. But it's a bridge. It is a
Cool,
bridge
cool.
along the road to Overton House near Dumbarton, Scotland.
I really forgot that we were in Scotland, and my brain was like, we're in Wales. And then when you said Scotland, I was like, I thought we were in Wales.
Nope, we are not in Wales. We are in Scotland. So all aboard for Education Station. It's fun fact time.
Yay!
Do you know what Scotland's national animal is?
Oh, man, I fucking used to, because it's really random, isn't it?
It is.
Fuck!
It's also not a real animal.
No, I know. It's like a unicorn or some shit.
It's a unicorn!
Fucking yes!
Look at you go. So Scotland's national
fucking
animal is a
genius.
unicorn, which
Fat fucking mood. Love Scotland.
I saw that and was like, immediately I'm like, Reese fucking loves unicorns. So I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
I should go to Scotland. I'm pretty sure you can buy land in Scotland. When's Reese's birthday? We could buy him you can buy him like a little plot and then he becomes a lord in Scotland. It's fucking
He
adorable.
could be Lord Unicorn.
I think it uses your real name, but we could probably just add unicorn in.
We can name his little plot of land Unicorn, and he could be the Lord of Unicorn.
Lord Reese of Unicorn, Scotland.
Reese, don't listen to this episode.
Yeah, shh, you heard nothing.
Unsurprisingly, it also has the highest population of redheads. So you would be right at home there. I mean, I've kind of lost the majority of my red.
Bestie, you're like a brunette now. How does it
Yeah.
feel to be lame?
There is still some red to it, but it's not what it was, which is disappointing.
It's not as pretty as mine.
She says, having died over it.
Okay. Common misconception, especially around fucking old people. Just because I dye my hair doesn't mean I don't like my natural hair colour. I look bomb as shit as a fucking ranger. I just felt like something different. Jesus.
You do make a hot ranger. It's fine. When you have eyebrows.
That's fair. I look like a fucking cancer patient without them.
Yeah.
Like,
According to dailyrecord.uk, about 13% of the population are redheads.
Dang, go the ginge.
And I know that we love a good niche claim to fame.
Fat mood.
And Scotland has 2 for us.
Yes,
Some
Scotland.
really good ones. So firstly, it is home to the world's shortest commercial flight.
How short?
The flight travels a distance of roughly 1.5 kilometers.
What
So
the
basically,
fuck is the point
so
of
basically
getting in
a
the
mile.
air?
Basically a mile, and it lasts a total of 47 seconds, which,
Wouldn't
same.
it take you that long to get... Oh. Wouldn't it take you that long just to take off?
More or less, yeah.
You wouldn't even fucking take off. You just... like, this is your landing, like, this is your takeoff strip. You go...
I'm not sure on the details. I didn't look too far into it. I just saw that. I was like, okay, that's pretty fucking
That's
weird.
the dumbest but
But-
greatest thing ever.
I did also see that Scotland comprises of like 790 islands or something. That can't be right. That sounds way exorbitant. Let me check that. I might be being a bit Emily about it.
Remember what Scotland looks like. Go away, little Jeramie.
Yeah, little Jeramie, no one wants you.
Scotland, man.
Yeah, no, Scotland has approximately 790 islands, 660 of which are uninhabited.
Oh, damn. Does that mean that technically I could go and discover an island?
You are a
Make it
white
mine.
person, so that is possible.
Exactly. I could just
That's
rock
what
up
we
and
do.
be like, oh, look, I'm white. This island is now mine. Fuck all you people. I'm going
Sounds
to kill
good.
you. I'm kidding. I wouldn't kill people for that. I'd
Well, they're
kill them for
uninhabited, so
something
there'd
else.
be no people to kill.
That we know of.
That's
we know of.
true.
Actually,
Indigenous people don't count. What am I talking about?
slightly off topic, but
That doesn't sound like this podcast. What are you talking about?
My favourite fucking thing, this is probably going to make me sound like a horrible fucking pet. No, actually, I don't really care. Don't mind.
Nothing's new. A lot of things you've said make you sound like a horrible person. I fucking hate old people.
They're just so fucking entitled and annoying, okay? I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I fucking hate them. Anyway, but one of my favourite fucking stories is of this fucking dickhead who was like, there's this island that is inhabited by Indigenous people. They are completely off from the world. They're still surviving in their ways. They have nothing to do with, like, computers or anything like that. They survive in their own way. They just don't have contact with the outside world kind of thing, right? They're on an island. And this little fucking Jesus kid was like, you know what they need? Jesus. You know what I'm gonna do, guys? I'm gonna boat over to them. And everyone was like, maybe not, because they
Boat
fucking
over.
kill people. He did boat, thank you very much. They were like, everyone was like, no, you're not allowed to go there because they don't fucking like outsiders and they're gonna fucking kill you. And the Jesus kid was like, nah, mate, I'm with the Lord. I've got this.
You just did an upside down cross.
Shit, did I?
Yes.
Oopsies. Wait, who the fuck do I care? I don't give a shit. Oh, well. Anyway.
I'm with the devil.
So this little Jesus kid rows on up, and then the people see him and they're like, fuck this white kid. And they shoot arrows at him, right? And he fucking dies.
Pew,
and everyone's
pew.
just kind of like, well, we did tell you, so it's not really, like, we're not really going to prosecute them or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure they can't even recover his body because the Indigenous people are like, stay the fuck away, bitches. Like, as
Serves him
Pocahontas'
right.
dad said, these white people are dangerous.
Yeah. Serves him right.
Right? Sorry, anyway, I just thought it was really funny.
But yeah, so I'm assuming that maybe that flight isn't entirely useless. Like maybe it goes from one of those islands to another. That is quite obviously 1.5 kilometers isn't a lot of distance, but maybe it's the only way to get there.
Like a boat plane.
a seaplane.
Oh my god, there's a... Yeah, I couldn't remember what
Possi-
it's called, Jeramie.
Possibly.
There's an island called Rum.
I don't want to go to there. I don't like rum.
Oh, I thought it was funny.
The second niche claim to fame that Scotland has is that it is home to the UFO capital of the world.
Oh.
So a small town called Bonnybridge, which, what a cute name,
That's so precious.
boasts more than
Bonnybridge.
300 sightings a year.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
That's a lot. Oh,
Anyway.
It's quite pretty too.
Is it?
Yeah, I just thought I'd Google it.
I want to see.
I'll copy an image over. Oh, are you just going to Google it yourself? It's very green. It's very pretty. Are you an alien
I feel like
enthusiast?
I feel like everything that I've seen in Scotland and Ireland, just the UK in general, including and England, because apparently Brexit. That whole area, I feel like everything I've seen is pretty though.
You look very nice.
Bonnybridge.
Bonnybridge.
Oh,
Just
it
imagine
is
and-
pretty.
Right, it's really cute.
No wonder all the aliens go to there. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a story.
Yes, tell me the story.
So, before I jump into the phenomenon of attached to the Overton Bridge, I'm just going to give you a brief rundown of the history of Overton House and Bridge. In 1859, the Overton estate was purchased by James White, a wealthy industrialist from Glasgow.
Was he white?
It's Scotland, so quite likely, yes.
There's black
In the
people in Scotland.
in the
Jeramie.
1800s.
Jesus. Pretty sure
And he
there's
was a
still white
wealthy
people.
industrialist, so
He was white.
yeah. At the time, the estate was about 900 acres, but this quickly grew to 2,000 acres. So, you know,
It escalated so quickly.
it's a small estate. Just a little one. Nothing special. Nothing to write home about.
No.
He commissioned one James Smith to build him a country home in the Scots baronial style, whatever the fuck that is.
Oh, country road, take me home.
And the construction apparently took 1,000 men 4 years to complete. I have photos.
Fuck me dead. That is a long ass time.
So I have photos of this country home, which is a fucking castle, if you ask me. It has turrets and everything. So
I have always wanted to live in a fucking house with turrets. There's a house around the corner from me and it has turrets and it's literally my dream home because it's also purple and I'm like, who do I have to marry to live in that house?
it's a castle.
fucking
Like,
castle,
I
which
would
is so
say it's also gorgeous. It is not a country home. It's a fucking castle. Picture the Luther Mansion from Smallville on crack. Like, with turrets.
I'm obsessed already.
I got a few photos to send you.
The chat closed for me. How do I open it again? Why am I so special? Oh my god.
Isn't it beautiful? That's
Okay, no
the
wonder it took
country
4 years
home.
to fucking make it. Jesus Christ, it's fucking stunning.
Yeah, it took 1,000 men. Yeah, well, they would have been men. It was the 1800s. Took 1,000 men 4 years to build this house.
Damn.
And, like, I can see why. But that's not a country home. That is a country castle.
Well, apparently to rich white men, that's a country home.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I want to go there. Is it open to the
Right?
public? Because in that last photo, it kind of looks like there's a car park at the front.
We will burn that bridge when we get to it, which is very soon. It's like a couple of
cool.
sentences away. So, Overton House was completed in 1864 and was owned by the White family until 1939, when, on the eve of World War II, Dr. Douglas White sold some of the land and then gave the estate to the people of Dumbarton. Sorry, I'm tripping myself up because I had initially been reading it as Dumbarton, and then this afternoon, as I was finishing off my notes before we started recording, I was like, I'm just going to double check the pronunciation of that, and found out that my initial instinct of Dumbarton was correct. And so now I'm trying to catch myself and say Dumbarton instead of Dumbarton. It's not going well. Anyway, he gave the estate to the people of Dumbarton in perpetuity. Which brings us to vocab lesson! What does perpetuity mean?
Not a fucking clue. What's the sentence?
He gave the estate to the people of Dumbarton in perpetuity.
Like a shared community safe place?
It basically means perpetual. Do you know what perpetual means?
I do, but my brain is like... It just keeps saying the word over and over again.
Continuous and ongoing.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm doing the thing that it means, because I keep just...
Yeah, you're perpetually thinking.
like, thinking about it in my head.
So, perpetuity is the state or quality of lasting forever.
So he
It
gave
can
it to
also...
the town to care for over...
So, he basically was like, this is yours now. For good. He gave it to them permanently.
So
It can also be used in finance law as finance or law as being a bond or security with no fixed maturity or end date. So like a stream of cash payments that continue forever.
I wish I had a stream of cash payments that continued forever.
Hard say.
Like, damn.
But yeah, so I saw that word in there, and I'm like, I'm assuming that means that has something to do with perpetual, but what does that mean in this context? And Googled it. I'm like, oh my god, perfect time for a vocab lesson, because I'm pretty sure I've missed that the past few episodes. My bad.
You did. Gosh, Jeramie.
Normally we end up having one happen organically because you've got a word in your notes that you are just like, I don't actually know what that means, and then I have to explain it to you.
Look, I like to learn as I go, Jeramie. I believe that we're always learning.
I do like that.
Share that learning with other people.
And that is one of the things that I love about one of the things that really drove me towards starting a podcast, but also that I love about having started a podcast, is that it gives us an extra opportunity to seek out learning and learn shit.
Yeah.
Like, people ask me a lot of the time, I'll just know things, random things, and people will be like, how the hell do you know this shit? And I'm like, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I picked it up from one of them. Now I have my own podcast, and I Google a lot of random shit for it, so I'm learning a lot. In 2001...
That's fair. No, you're fine where you are.
B can't be in the room for this story.
Oh yeah, B, this is bad. It's her... She's like, I'm fucking coming, bro. Now you have to go play. No, you can't be in here. They say mad?
Bad.
They say bad things about poppers. They're too bad for your precious little ears.
This is not a dog-friendly zone.
No. No. She's like, why won't you love me?
No dogs allowed!
You can't. Settle down. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Your funeral. In 2001, the council accepted a proposal to lease Overton House to Bob and Melissa Hill to open as a residential care facility for women in crisis.
That's so cute.
So
wait, no,
it's...
this is old times, so women in crisis.
No, 2001.
Oh, okay. Whew, my bad.
Yeah,
I forgot
2001. So that is why it's not open to the public per se.
Kind of, but it's not like what I originally thought.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it is
It's not like a tour this castle kind of thing. So following extensive reconstruction, the house reopened for this intended purpose in 2017. And from what I can see, it's still running because I went to their official website. One of those photos is from
I thought you were going to
their
say
website.
I went there, and I was like, when?
One or two of those photos are from their website, so one would assume that it is still running. So I do love that.
That's cool.
I would love to be in a crisis and get cared for in. I wouldn't love to be in a crisis, but I would love to be cared for in a fucking castle. That's for sure,
guys. Jeramie would love to be in a crisis.
I would love to be in a crisis. I'm perpetually in a crisis.
Of your own.
My crisis is in perpetuity. There you go. There's your sentence for the vocab lesson. My crisis is in perpetuity.
My crisis is in perpetuity. I like the word. It's just fun to say.
It is fun to say. The Overton estate is divided by the Overton Burn, which is a 50.
A 50! It's a 50!
Which is a 50-foot or 15-meter ravine, separating the eastern and western sides. And so to connect these, Lord Overton, John Campbell White, who was James's son, built the West Drive, its lodge, and the Overton Bridge, which was completed in 1895. Also fucking gorgeous, as far as bridges go.
Are you going to be
sending
like
you a
that
photo
random lady who like fucked and married the bridge? Cause...
I mean, its hole is big enough.
Oh, that's really... Oh, look, there's like a little extra one in case you want to be like really intimate. That's quite pretty.
Isn't it? So yes.
Oh, there's water a little bit down.
A little bit, yeah. It's over a ravine. But yeah, so that is where we'll be talking about. Now that I've gone over the history of the bridge, that brings me to the mystery of the bridge. Mystery history. Ooh. This one isn't a history mystery. Like, this is still going to this day. Oh. It's an unexplained phenomenon.
Perpetuity.
Perpetuity.
Dang it.
Perpetuity.
Perpetuity.
So yeah. The history of the bridge is done, brings us to the mystery of the bridge, the unexplained phenomenon associated with it. You see, Overton Bridge has another name, a rather forward and unforgiving one at that. And it is this name that has been living rent-free in my head, and I'm very sorry in advance for it, but I needed to discuss it. Since the 1950s, locals have taken to referring to the bridge as the Bridge of Death, or,
cute,
more commonly and descriptively, Dog Suicide Bridge.
Oh my god!
Yeah. I think you can probably figure out what the phenomenon is from there.
Oh, baby, no. I'm covering her ears. She mustn't hear.
So, dating back to at least the 1950s, there have been reports of a strange phenomenon on Overton Bridge where dogs seemingly just throw themselves off the side of the bridge into the ravine below.
What the fuck, Jeramie?
I did tell you it wasn't
I had
great.
Dead babies and mine was worse. You had dog suicide. Bruh.
I couldn't find a specific measurement as to how far down this drop is, but stop making that face at me. I didn't do this.
Oh, you fucking chose the story, mate.
Yes, because I needed to know more about it, and it's fascinating, okay? Just let me get through the hard part, and then we'll be okay. I couldn't find a specific measurement as to how far down this drop is, but from what I saw and read, like looking at that photo of the bridge from below, it's not a small drop. It looks like the ravine is pretty deep.
I feel like you could, like, put 5 of me, and that would be the top. Okay, maybe 4. 1 Kirstyn, 2 Kirstyn, 3 Kirstyn, 4 Kirstyn. It's like 4 Kirstyns high.
I would say it's more like 8 Kirstyns high, personally.
Really? Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm bad at distance. That is really tall.
Yeah. I suppose. 1.
That is
2.
taller than... So 4 of you would be shorter than 8 meters. That bridge is definitely more than 8 meters tall.
Oh, yeah, no, that fully is.
Yeah. I would say it's like 20 meters tall.
Fair.
The bridge looks as tall as it is long, and we know that the bridge is 15 meters long.
That's true.
So I would say it is at least 15 meters. I would probably say about 20.
Okay.
Who knows? But... So there also isn't a clear specific number of how many instances of these leaps have occurred. To quote a New York Times article I found, local researchers estimate more than 300 have sailed off the bridge. Tabloid reports say it's 600. At least 50 dogs are said to have died. So not all have died.
Yeah, but they're not going to have a great quality of life.
So an article on allthat'sinteresting.com said some witnesses claim to have watched dogs climb up the bridge's wall before making the jump. In more disturbing reports, some have even said that dogs who have survived their first jump have returned to the bridge for another attempt.
Again, I think your case is more depressing than mine.
So, ultimately, there's not a lot of specific hard evidence or information I can find to report on the particulars of the dogs jumping, which personally I'm happy with because I don't really want to get too far into that part. The majority of my segment this week will be discussing the theories and speculating instead, which is why I said that there's a lot of room for discussion in this one. I do have one story to share from that same New York Times article. It does not end with a dead dog.
Yay!
Miss McKinnon was walking with her border collie, Bonnie, over the Overton Bridge in Dumbarton, Scotland. Something overcame Bonnie as soon as we approached the bridge, Miss McKinnon said. At first she froze, but then she became possessed by a strange energy and ran and jumped right off the parapet.
Jesus.
Miss McKinnon winced at the memory of scurrying down the gorge, through the trees and the bushes in a desperate hunt for Bonnie. But when she approached the dog's body, Bonnie started to whimper and eventually tried to stand up. It was a miracle that she survived, she said. So that's the story that I have to share of a dog jumping off the bridge.
Okay, I get that you said no one dies in it, but the dog's bones were probably much broken, so I don't think they either would have lasted very long or had a good quality rest of their life.
I still have the article open.
Yep.
She was retelling the story 3 years after the event. I'm just wondering, does it mention if the dog is still alive 3 years later? It does not.
That's so dumb.
Yeah. Okay. So, the theories. Why are these dogs jumping from the bridge? There are bridges all over the world. I know, crazy, right?
It's the most shocking fact of today.
I didn't know bridges exist. We don't have them in Australia.
Ah, never seen one. First time I
We
saw
just
one was when
like
you sent me a picture.
swim across water and
Nah, I use my
holes.
kangaroo. Jump over.
So yeah, there are bridges all over the world, and yet this seems to be the only one where this specific phenomenon occurs. So over the years, I have seen mention of the dog suicide bridge, or the bridge where dogs seemingly where dogs are lured to their death below, and that's pretty much all I've seen. I'm like, that's so weird, and then continued scrolling. And it was on my list of cases to cover in my book. And then, yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was in Japan. I don't know why. My brain was just like, oh, yeah, that bridge in Japan where dogs kill themselves. And then I Googled it. I'm like, that's in Scotland.
Suicide Forest? That's in Japan.
Maybe. Yes, that's probably it. But for some reason, it has been on my brain the past week. And I was like, I kind of need to know more about it. And I want to talk about it. So, the first theory I'll discuss is linked to a dark moment in the bridge's history, and this is where our cases slightly connect. It's not great. I don't like it. Mm-hmm. In 1994, a 32-year-old man claimed his infant son, Owen, was the Antichrist.
Oh,
and
Jesus
thus...
fucking Christ.
No, Antichrist. And thus threw him to his death from Overton Bridge in broad daylight of a clear day.
Jesus Christ.
He then attempted to take his own life by following the child,
Oh,
but
Betsy, that's not high enough for you.
But was stopped by his wife and later made a second attempt. It wasn't high enough for the baby either. The baby was taken to hospital and died.
I thought
the next
he
day.
yeeted it so it would die on impact.
So he did yeet it. And I purposely, because in my brain, every time I've thought about, every time I was like, oh yeah, the man just yeeted the baby, I was like, don't put in your notes, yeeted the baby, that's not an appropriate way to class it, but seeing as you said it, I'll go with it. But you're the worst person, we know that. He did, yeet. It didn't specify how old the infant son was either. An infant to me is anywhere between 6 months and 3.
I would go 6 and... I'd go birth to 2.
Okay. Still not great.
The infant.
But, yeah, so he threw the baby, or the infant, off the bridge. It made impact, was rushed to the hospital, and it died the next day. He died the next day. Yeah.
Fuck me, the wife could stop him from committing suicide, but couldn't stop him from yeeting the baby off?
Right. So, yeah, she managed to stop him from jumping off the bridge himself.
Did she also think that he was
It didn't
possessed?
say.
Oh.
It didn't say what part she played in this.
Just that she stopped her husband from
He did
completing.
later make a second attempt with a knife that he had on his person. I don't know if that happened at the bridge at the same time or what period of time, but that also was stopped. So he was found not guilty of murder on the
sorry, what?
On the grounds of insanity because he was adamant that his child was the Antichrist. So he was committed to a psychiatric hospital.
I'm glad he got help.
Yes. The reason this event is linked to a theory is that supposedly in almost every instance, the dogs have jumped from the same spot that the baby was thrown and on a clear day.
Oh.
So he threw the baby from the bridge in a certain spot in the middle of the day on a clear day. And almost all of the reported jumps are from that spot
Like under the same
on a
circumstance.
clear day. Yeah. Raising the belief that perhaps this terrible event created some kind of supernatural rift from the trauma that is maybe like drawing the dogs.
Or the baby was the Antichrist and he is getting revenge.
That too, specifically at dogs.
Because everyone loves dogs.
You're not wrong. The issue with this, however, is that event happened in 1994 and the dogs have been jumping since at least 1950. However, I personally have two thoughts on this, which is where I thought we might get into a little bit of discussion. Mm-hmm. Firstly, my stance from what I have heard, read, just personally believe in general, is that we know that time's not linear.
Time is wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah. We experience time linearly throughout our lifetime, but I'm of the camp that time itself is not linear, that there's kind of some crossover and movement. A lot of theories towards ghosts is that sometimes it is because there are tales of people seeing the ghosts, like people seeing, I don't know, a child in Victorian era clothing looking at them confused. Which then begs the question of, is that child also seeing you in 2020 era clothing confused what the hell you're wearing?
Being like, so, this slut showing her ankles?
That there's like an overlap of, it's a weird moment where time kind of crosses in that non-linear situation. I don't know how to describe it. You know the thing I'm talking about though, yeah.
I'm with you.
So perhaps it doesn't matter that the traumatic event occurred after the first reported jumps. Perhaps it's just the pure trauma
if the Antichrist was involved.
Yeah. But just perhaps the trauma of that event itself was enough to create a supernatural rift that surpasses time. The second thought that I have on this is that perhaps throwing the baby off the bridge didn't create the rift. Perhaps the rift was there to begin with, and that's part of what drove the man to yeet the child.
Yeah, I feel like there's, like, easier ways to kill a baby.
Yeah.
Like, it's a baby. Just, like, shove a pillow on its face. I'm just saying, it's not going to really be that hard to, like...
Now who's coming in with some hot takes? Just come out with that and then go straight back to suck it on your straw? Like, okay. Like, no big deal. Shit, son.
Look. It was the 90s. It's not like he didn't have access to weaponry, drugs, a fucking pillow, which I just feel like would be the easiest. Like, did he want to take his son on, like, some, like, I'm sorry, but if you believe that your son is the fucking Antichrist, why would you choose yeeting it off a bridge as your method of murder?
Maybe he thought the water in the bottom of the ravine was holy and that the sizzle, sizzle, boil, boil. I don't know.
Sizzle, sizzle, boil. Was the kid baptized, do you know?
I don't know any specifics other than that the child's name was Owen, which I had to look up how to pronounce because it's Eoghan.
Yeah, Owen. Makes complete sense. Actually, you know what, Firecracker's favourite thing to do? She writes down Irish names for me and tells me to guess how they're pronounced. I fucking suck at it. I don't know, actually, I did pretty well the last couple of times.
Maybe that may be one reason that the trauma of that event caused a rift and if we're going to argue about the whole time thing, it could just be that the trauma surpasses the time, or that the rift existed to begin with, and that's part of what brought him to do that.
I feel like maybe that's a little bit more accurate because, like, I just feel like some horrific shit has probably happened that's worse than some guy yeeting his baby off a bridge.
Probably.
And it hasn't caused the same kind of phenomenon.
Another theory comes from researcher Paul Owens, a teacher of religion and philosophy in Glasgow, and published author of a book about the bridge called The Baron of Rainbow Bridge, Overton's Death-Leaping Dog Mystery Unravelled.
That's a really long title.
Which...
seems a bit excessive.
You need to see the cover of this book because I died when I saw it. I literally have no words. I'm about to send it to you. I'm gonna look at it again with you.
What the fuck?
Firstly, love the awfully photoshopped dogs leaping off the bridge with big smiles on their faces. Secondly, the rainbow and whatever that font over the top is.
In the background with the fucking top hat, cape, and this
wizard dude. I should have prefaced the fact that this case doesn't include Merlin, but so that when you saw that, you could be like, "There's Merlin." He's just standing there. He looks like he has a giant-ass grin on his face, too.
He low-key looks like a ghost.
I
wonder who designed it.
There's so much wrong with this.
Who thought, you know what? Dog suicide. I think we need to make it look happy.
Literally, both dogs have a giant smile on their face, like, oh, yay!
Okay, but the top dog looks like he's actually leaping.
Yeah, the second
Whereas the first dog just kind of looks like he's like, woo! Woo!
And then there's this creepy man behind them, like, hello, watching you jump to your death.
I like the poppers. Also, the front dog's feet look weird.
But yeah, I needed you to experience that. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god.
Traumatized.
Oh yeah, that's the most traumatic part of this whole story.
But if you just look at this, does it not look like a children's book?
It does.
I've just cropped it to what you're gonna post. It looks like a fucking old shitty children's movie / book.
Yeah. Bloody hell. Oh, I would watch that movie.
Fat mood, so would I.
So again, from the New York...
what does Bestie Owens think?
Well, again, from the New York Times article, after 11 years of research, I'm convinced it's a ghost that is behind all of this, he declared. Oh, I should say that in more of a declaration voice. After 11 years of research, I am convinced it's a ghost that is behind all of this, he declared.
Just to clarify, does he think that the ghost is like picking the dogs up and just yeeting them off the bridge? Or does he think the ghost is like down the bottom being like, here, Papa, come here, baby, come here?
Don't know, didn't read the book.
Wow, Jeramie, why would you not clarify that for me? Trash.
But, still reading from this same article. Mr. Owen's theory is popular among some local residents who grew up hearing stories about the White Lady of Overton, the grieving widow of John White, James's son.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the grieving widow of the woman whose husband yeeted their baby off.
In 1994.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
The lady lived alone in grief for more than 30 years after her husband died in 1908, said Marion Murray, a Dumbarton resident.
Or did she live happily because she didn't have to deal with her husband's shit anymore?
Probably. Her ghost has been lurking around here ever since. She's been sighted in windows and walking around the grounds. So I do have another story of a dog on the bridge that is related to this theory. There's no yeeting, however. I'm just going to continue to quote this article for this story rather than rewrite it myself because it's just easier. One day, Emma Dunlop was very tired. Who said she had heard the horror stories, took her Labrador Retriever, Ginger.
Why the fuck would you take your dog there if you heard the horror
It is
stories?
a popular dog walking spot despite everyone in town growing up knowing this tale.
Are these people on fucking crack or something? Like, is there something in the water
I
system
don't know.
where they're like,
literally, one of the articles I read literally ended with, while this stays an unsolved mystery at this point in time, perhaps residents of Dumbarton should consider a mandatory dog leash when out and about. Or just avoid this bridge in general. I didn't really like other parts of this article. Like, it literally just said, obviously these dogs aren't just yeeting themselves off. It didn't say yeeting, but like, you know, that the dogs aren't yeeting themselves off the bridge because their prescription of Prozac ran out. I was like, don't
disgusting.
love this. No, thank you. But I did agree with that part where it was like, maybe don't walk across this bridge, or maybe at least, like, enforce a fucking mandatory leash rule. At least in this specific area.
I feel like after, like, the first 5 dogs, maybe, they should have been like, you know what, either don't walk your fucking dog along here, or carry a fucking lead, so if it does jump, you're still holding on to it.
We literally call this place Dog Suicide Bridge. Let's walk our dog across it.
I would never take B there. I would go.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't take her.
No.
I'd take you to the bridge, baby.
I'd walk you there.
That's fair. I'd walk me there.
Where am I? Oh, yes. So, she'd heard the horror stories, took her Labrador Retriever Ginger for a walk to Overton anyway.
Idiot.
She did not let him out of her station wagon until he was on a leash. He's never tried to jump, she said, but sometimes he freezes or hesitates when he gets on the bridge, so I'm always careful.
I feel like your dog doesn't fucking like the bridge, babe.
You're not careful if you're taking the dog there.
I just...
Yeah,
what goes through these people's brains? Like, actually, what?
Much like to the rest of my story, I don't have an answer for that.
That's so dumb.
So, Ginger jumped from the car, raced around his owner, and headed straight toward Overton Bridge, crossing it without any hesitation. But then, Ginger froze, looking back intently at something on the bridge, which appeared empty to human eyes. Aye, there she is. There's the white lady. Miss Dunlop said with a laugh, suggesting Ginger had seen the bridge's ghost. I don't know if that accent was any good. It was probably awful.
It was more Irish than Scottish.
Yeah, that sounds about right, to be honest.
But also...
I'm not an accent person. I can't do them.
I love doing them. I shouldn't do them. Oh my god, actually, recently was listening to a Wine and Crown episode, and they had, like, Australian crimes on it or something. No.
Every time they try an Australian accent, it's
so
awful.
Bad. What is that? It's not. And then like throw another shrimp on the Barbie, and I'm like, one, we don't eat shrimp.
We eat prawns.
We eat prawns. It's
but
prawns.
Also, I don't know where the whole throwing them on the Barbie came from because you don't put prawns on the Barbie.
Some people do. They like grill them. I don't like prawns.
I don't like prawns either. So,
but I've seen people grill them, but it's not like mine. More would be like chuck a snag on the Barbie.
Yeah,
like that's Australian.
chuck us a snag, mate.
I'm pretty sure the throw a shrimp on the Barbie was actually an American
Yeah, it was.
thing that they just said about Australians.
Yeah.
And then all of Australia was like, we call them prawns, mate.
Mm.
The fuck is a shrimp?
But anyway, do with that story what you will.
Ginger's mum is a crackhead. Bit of an idiot.
Yep.
Don't know if I trust her with Ginger. Ginger needs a bit of better mum. Just saying.
Probably. It has also been speculated that the location is what the pagan Celts refer to as a thin place. So from thinplacestour.com, thin places are places of energy, a place where the veil between this world and the eternal world is thin. A thin place is where one can walk in two worlds. The worlds are fused together.
I
Knitted
thought it was gonna be
loosely
more like...
where the differences can be discerned, or tightly where the two worlds become one. So
I thought
it's
it was
kind
gonna
of
more be like the vibe of like Harry Potter, like Order of
where
Phoenix.
the veil is. Oh yeah, where the veil is.
And
No,
Sirius goes through and he like automatically dies.
it's kind of a spot where you are both here, where it's both here and there.
Yeah.
Doesn't really explain the
Anything.
eating though.
It really doesn't.
There are a lot, like thin places are all over the world, but they are especially prominent from what I've read this afternoon.
From what I read 2 hours ago.
In Scotland and Ireland.
Ireland.
So-
Scotland, Ireland, where the Celts were.
Yeah, what I read was that thin places are most common there. They do appear all around the world, but
Is there any in Australia?
maybe that's a good question. My burger buns are shaking for you. Okay, nothing's coming up for me.
Oh, I'm reading a blog from this guy called Rob, and he reckons that Uluru is a thin place.
That would make sense. See, I feel like if we had the indigenous term for a thin place,
That would
we
make
would
more sense.
find what it is in Australian, because we're using the Celtic term,
Yeah.
but we didn't have Celts here.
Well, the way he describes it is that, it's actually really cute the way he describes Australia. What impressed me initially was the sound of the wind rustling the scrub as it swept across the vast desert of Central Australia in the darkness. It sounded like the rustling of ancient parchment, dry and crinkling, heralding the arrival of the divine. Dawn began to break across the face of Uluru about 30 minutes into my 3-hour hike around the rock. That's commitment. I had the sensation that I was the only person present to witness the sunrise in this ancient and holy place. I froze. Suddenly I felt God's warm breath wash over me, banishing the chill of the desert night. I was in a thin place. Damn.
Knowing what I know about Uluru, it wouldn't surprise me if it was a thin place. I feel like we just need to find out what the Australian indigenous term is for, or what the Aboriginal term for
I'm sending
a
you
thin
picture
place
of
is.
Rob.
Oh, why does he have to be with a goat though?
But how cute is he? He's like, this is my goat.
Yeah, but there's a goat. Ew.
Well, you don't like goats.
I hate goats. It's more than just don't like. Bob Hill, the pastor currently residing in and running Overton House, Pastor Bill, is more inclined to believe another common non-paranormal theory. So, from a Vice article, squirrels, mice, and, most pungently, mink are known to nest below the bridge, the scent of which is attractive to dogs. A scientific test has been undertaken where 10 long-nosed pups were given a variety of scents to follow. 70% of the dogs made for the mink. This theory ticks a variety of boxes. Mink were introduced to the area in the 1950s when the jumps began, and the smell of mink would be strongest on clear or dry days. Good to see B is giving herself some self-care.
Fuck's sake, B. Stay classy, babe. Jesus Christ. My God, child. Do I have to lick your vagina right now? Christ. You're on camera. This isn't OnlyFans. We're not getting paid for it. Don't sell that shit for freebie.
In 2010, David Sands, an animal behaviorist, investigated the phenomenon and was able to rule out the possibility of the dogs intentionally killing themselves, chalking it up to the scent of animals below and the dogs having limited perspective. So I did actually watch a video of an investigation they did. I don't know if he did it or if it was separate, but there was a video of an investigation about this phenomenon using cameras attached to the dog's head just to get an idea of what they might be seeing.
Yeah.
Like what the world looks like to them. And they really have, like, I never actually thought about it until then. They're all the way down here. We're up here. They have...
Hot take.
Hot take, humans are taller than dogs.
Damn, Jeramie, you've blown my mind. Oh my God.
But they can't see anything. Literally, they had a dog walk up to the edge of the bridge and all it could see was the bridge. The only way it would be able to see anything below was if it literally was over the wall, which then... by that point, it's too late. So, that tracks. He theorized that their ignorance of the terrain changing from a bridge to a deep ravine, combined with the scent of the animals below in the air, may be what lures them to make the leap. All of that tracks. So, as the article said, this does make sense. It ticks quite a few boxes. But what it doesn't explain is why this is the only bridge where this phenomenon occurs, as it's not the only bridge with squirrels, mice, and mink residing under it. No other bridge in Britain or the UK, that area, with the same mammals roaming below it, boasts reports of these same instances. And also, why is it always in that one spot on clear days? Like, what? That in itself is odd.
Is it like in the middle?
If it's from one of the parapets, it's kind of towards one of the ends. Because, like, if we go and look at the photo of the bridge, those parts that jut out...
Yeah.
See how on the side that we can see the end of it, there's two of them?
Yeah.
Those are the parapets.
Oh, okay then.
And it's the spot in between the two.
On the way to the castle or away from the castle?
I'm not sure which side. I just know that it's in between the two parapets that they jump. So... or right off the parapet. But yeah, so it's at one of the ends of the bridge. It's not halfway.
That's weird.
So it's odd. It's that specific spot. Ultimately, we may never know. One day it may be figured out, but at this point, it's literally just another of the world's unsolved mysteries, more unknown for me to discuss. Which, thank you for the content, but also, I really want to know. Okay, to be fair, yes, it is sucky for you to have to hear these stories. It's even worse for me to have to actually research them and be like, okay, but I need an answer. Because all I can do is go, okay, well, what are the theories? And look and look and look at all of these theories and be like, okay, well, that makes some sense, but
Let's be
also it
honest,
doesn't track with this.
Jeremy, you and I will solve all of these mysteries because we are clearly the best investigators.
Oh, 100%. That's why we're vestie besties, because we're investigators.
Besties. What do you call an alligator in a vest?
An investigator.
Great joke.
I personally, I agree with Paul Owens. I reckon that it's a ghost yeeting them off the bridge.
Just being like, oh, fuck you! Oh,
I don't know.
I like the science one.
The science...
That's not surprising.
The science does make sense, and I agree with the science, but then that does raise the massive question of there are bridges all over the world
I hate science
with-
plus something else.
with wildlife living below. And yet this is the only bridge in the world with these statistics. So I agree.
You know
I
what?
think it's the science, but there is something else at play.
It's the science, and it's the Antichrist.
It's that fucking baby.
Yeah, Owen.
Damn
So
you, Owen.
think- Okay, but you think, though, wouldn't it be
But
where
the
the
trauma
kid
happened.
died?
The trauma happened 44 years after reports of these dogs started jumping as well. Like, I get my stand. I do still stand by my stance that time isn't linear. It's just,
That's weird.
it is. If anything, if that is in any way related, it has to be that the rift was already there, and that's what led to that situation.
Look, I've got an idea.
Okay.
When they were building the bridge,
Is this about to go into some gay erotica?
maybe.
You're about to tell me that those 1,000 men took 4 years to build the house because they were busy having an orgy, aren't you?
Wouldn't fucking surprise me. But no. When they were building the bridge, there was three guys, right? There was like a little love triangle, right? And one of them was like a Celtic witch, or whatever the fuck they're called. A druid, or whatever they are. Druid, right? And he was like he was so you have the tip of the triangle. Let's name him Ben.
Tippy.
Or Tippy. Let's name him Tippy. And Tippy was originally fucking the druid. And then Bestie came along. And then Tippy was like, ooh, yes, Bestie. I'm gonna fuck you instead. And then Druid was like, whoa, bro. Fuck you. And Tippy's best friend was a dog. And he loved his dog very much. So Druid was like, you know what? Fuck you. And your bullshit. And fuck
I'm sorry, did you just say
everyone
that someone
related to your
wants to
dog.
fuck a dog?
No. And then, so Druid made a spell, and he put it in the very specific bricks right near where everyone's jumping, because that was where he caught Bestie and Tippy making out for the first time. And he was like, fuck you! You love dogs so much? Every dog that comes here is going to yeet themselves off this spot because you're a cheating whore. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I don't agree with that theory.
I think that's clearly the most plausible theory.
Sure. If you say so. Yeah, no. I'm going to say that's not what happened.
Wow. Wow, babe. Wow.
Not your best work. Try harder next time. So, anyway, yeah, that is... Look, I told you that it did deal with some dark stuff, but that it would also lead to some interesting banter.
I like that you
It
did
just-
a trigger warning for your case.
Yeah.
With one dead baby. I didn't.
No,
with 500
I
dead
didn't even
babies.
think to do a trigger warning for the fucking baby. It was literally the fact that suicide came into play so often. But also, I've noticed that it's not the first time I've done a trigger warning for my stories if they get slightly dark, but yours get very dark and never once has there been any warning. So, that's my case. It wasn't great. Like, the main concept wasn't great, but I did find some interesting stuff.
And some really pretty castles.
Yes, and it was just a fascinating one to look into, even though the concept itself is so awful.
Yes. That's like mine, though. Like, mine was really horrible, but it was interesting learning about it.
I'm just interested in trying to come across, or trying to find and cover the most obscure, unheard of things that I can. Even though it's harder on me to research, I feel like it
makes it more
is
interesting.
better for us to share. So if anyone out there has something that I may not have heard of or may not be able to come across without a little nudge, how could they help me find it, Kirstyn?
So, if you want to send us an electronic letter, good boy, you can email us. Oh, for fuck's sake! You can email us at rfimhpodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to give us a little bit of a stalk on Twitter, you can find us at RFIMH Podcast. We also have the same with our Instagram. If you want to go that step further in your stalking, you can find Jeramie at
Jeramie Gage.
And me at Sir Kirsty Lee. We also, for the oldies out there, because apparently it's your old if you use Facebook.
Ouch. Thank
yeah,
you
no.
for that.
That was me when I got told that. I was like, well, thanks, babe. You can find us at Rent Free in My Head Podcast, and the URL is RFIMH Podcast. So
I'm very
plenty of ways to stalk
consistent.
us.
Like
You are. I'm very proud of you. Look at you go, bestie. Crushing the game. I have to get my goodbye up.
I've decided that I want to end with a joke.
Oh, okay. What's your joke? What's your joke? What's your joke? Is it a dad joke?
Why did the chicken go to the seance?
Why?
To get to the other side. I wonder if the chicken hired a pastor to do the seance. Use your spaghetti!
Oh, okay. Oh, well. Smoke me a kipper. I'll be back for breakfast.
Are you gonna do your sign-off before?
Oh, yeah, fuck. Okay, no, sorry, I just wanted to read that one to you as well. That's not the one I wanted to use.
That's good, because you didn't
My
do
eyes,
your
fell
job.
on it as I said it. And I was like, what? Okay. So, anywho, guys, we hope that we have taken up some space space in your little or big brains. I don't really know the size of your brains. I feel like they're all like kind of the same size.
No, if
But,
they're
like-
listening to us, they are definitely big-brained. They
Oh, yeah,
have
for
big
sure.
brain energy.
Yeah, big brain energy. All right, well, thanks, guys. Well, I'm glad that they have big brains because then we can take up even more space every week.
Oh, I need a lot of room.
Yeah, I like my space as well. You know, rent free,
I
of course,
definitely
because
like space
neither of
from
us
you.
can fucking afford. Wow. Okay, well, neither of us are going to be paying rent because we're both poor as shit and we like a lot of space. So, yeah, I hope you're cool with that.
You could say that we will be living rent-free in your heads.
And we appreciate it, besties. Okay. Sorry, I just read a couple more as I was like, I went to read them.
What have you got? What?
Alright.
How are you going to hurt me today?
It's
Even
not,
more
no.
than how you already have.
No. It's actually really cute. It's a little cute goodbye because this was such a depressing episode with dead babies. So,
And dogs.
yeah. Give a hug, ladybugs.
Was ruined by someone doing a burnout
Really
behind you.
Fuck's sake. Anyway.
Try and find one that's less gay.
Oh. Toodle pip.
Or one that's more gay because it is Pride.
That's very true. Oh, this one's cute. Peace out, Girl Scout.
I have no words. I'm
These were
just gonna
adorable.
go drink a bottle of wine. That sounds fine. Bye! Yeah, I'm Dr. Seuss, didn't you know?